Good evening and welcome back to another edition of Beyond the Backstage Pass. I am your host, Vince Edwards. You may know me from Sound Image Productions. I also have a couple closed roadie groups on Facebook, one called Death by Loadout, another one called The Backstage Pass. Come and check us out. This evening I have my dear, good friend with me and co-host, Kyle Thomas. How are you, sir?
Great, man. How about yourself?
Oh, man, I am living the dream. I'm looking out across our shop right now, and there's got to be 100 cases between me and you, between us and the other wall that are going out this weekend, and it makes me very, very happy. As you know, I think we have 4 or 5 things going on.
At least there's a bunch of dollar signs everywhere.
Yeah, and it's funny you say it that way because I leave that to my brother. I just think of the gear and making sure everything's working and the trucks and the kids are. But yeah, I get you. That's what it translates to. This shit doesn't do us any good sitting here on shelves. I need it to be out in the world, and so my brother's doing his good work by selling the shows, and we're building them, and it's the love between us. So
yeah, we're rolling right along. You got definitely a busy week. There are a lot of shows going out. You got the Anya rig going out.
Yeah,
I see Jeffrey Raz in the building doing his thing, and Bernie Broderick plugging away.
You just went right through that so quick. Let's stop with Jeffrey Raz first. Let's talk about that.
Sure.
This is one of my favorite people. We've done 2 shows with him. He's been on this show set right there 2 times, and
most certainly
he's
has.
just one of the most insane great guys. And when we're doing big stuff, and you know, we do the whole spectrum, as you well know, in the audio business. But when we get the big stuff going on, we bring in the big guns, and that's why Jeffrey Rasmussen is here. He's just one of the best and a dear friend. And you mentioned Bernie was up to stuff. What's Bernie doing?
I think Bernie's doing the same thing he is. They're plugging away at this Anya rig, getting everything prepped and ready.
Yeah.
He's also got been super busy getting 16 Kiris ready.
Yeah.
And I think he's doing one for a pioneer of our industry.
I think he's doing, that's one order of 16 to a true pioneer of our
correction.
industry.
So he's doing all 16 for one guy.
And I would love to say who it is. Everybody would know who it is. But I don't think he wants his business out on Front Street, so we're going to keep it back.
Well, that's fair.
But know this, when we say a pioneer of this industry, I cannot say, that should be a giveaway right there. There's like 2 of them, and he's one of them. And so, yeah, he's a dear friend and just a friggin' huge talent and great man.
Oh, yeah. Super.
Yeah, but we're really happy to see Bernie busy. He's out building these little guys right here, these little Curie speakers.
Yeah, we got 2 of them lined up in the front. They're really nice.
That right there is the world's only black one.
Look at that. You see? Can you guess it's Vincent's?
It's mine. Yeah, I love that thing. It does really good things, and couldn't be more proud of Bern, making his new stuff. And he displayed some of his recent wares, his new battery pack for a TCM, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to buy one off him just to use to charge my phones and my laptop at the house.
Yeah, is it that efficient?
It's going to be a very expensive effort.
I mean, I'll tell you, I took one of these out on the road, and I listened to music almost every day for 2 months, and it never died. I never had to charge it or anything.
That's an impressive thing to be able to say. I thought I ran mine. It was a guesstimate around 28 hours before I had to recharge it.
Yeah, that's
pretty
crazy,
friggin' amazing.
It's a long time.
Yeah. I think you were sending me photos. You had this up on your on a mix console at least one time.
Oh, several times.
Yeah.
This would be like setting up. We'd have this thing posted up, just listening to something.
Yeah, it's kind of perfect.
Everybody, it's like always a talking piece. Somebody will come over and be like, "What the hell is that thing? Where'd you get it?"
Yeah, it's definitely a conversation starter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I brought it out to recently. I just did this Emerald Cup thing, and we're keeping each other entertained out at the festival. So I pulled this thing out. A bunch of people asked about it.
Oh, I bet they did. Yeah, we might got to find a way to maybe get some of his cards and hand them out in lieu of the big speech. It's like, if you're down, check this out. Go to this website, and you'll learn all you want to know about it.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's very nice of you. I think we've got a thing going on this week, which I believe is public information, so we can share it. We're doing audio and some other stuff for this Matrix premiere that's happening in San Francisco. They filmed the most recent Matrix 4 here in the city, and that's going to premiere, I believe, over the weekend. So we're doing that. That should be interesting.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. We got Mr. Adorama on it, and a few of our other lovely folks. So it should go really good. We good? You got anything else, Big Daddy?
Yeah, that's about it. Like I said, I just was busy over the past weekend doing Emerald Cup, little festival up north, and I set up this hilarious bear for everybody. Everybody got a little sad and bummed out because it was raining so much. So we set up the assistant stage bear manager. Did a great job.
Perfect. Well, that is a cute little thing. I saw one of your friends put up like 12 pictures on one of my sites, and I allowed it because it was clever and funny. And,
Yeah, too funny.
yeah, I
You
was
gotta do
surprised it
dumb
wasn't
shit
you
to
when
keep
I
it.
looked at it to approve it. I was thinking, wait, well, how's this guy have your stuff? But it
Gotta
was,
keep it entertaining.
yeah, you do. You did good. You did really good. And one last thing, last week's guest,
Oh right, Frank. That was a fucking awesome show.
Frank Scamboloni.
Frank Scamboloni.
Yeah, one of the top engineers in the business came on the show. It was just a treat. It was absolutely wonderful to have him. He is a consummate professional and a badass dad and family man, and just a great guy. I was really pleased to have him on. And
Absolutely.
I think it turned out to be a really good show. I hope you guys saw it. If not, they're always on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. Go check them out. All right, guys, I'm gonna get with this guest because I'm gonna get in his ear and find out his story. You cool
Please,
with it?
dude, you got another gold
All right.
nugget for
All
the
right.
audience.
Well, you know, I will say that tonight, my guest, although he's had history with my brother and lots of my friends, I actually am just getting to meet him today. He seems like a killer-ass cool guy. And John Del Rio, a good friend of ours over there at Gallagher Staging, and just a general all-around fucking badass. He's the guy you want in the bar when shit jumps off, trust me on that. He said to me, Vinny, you got to have Marty Kell on because he's a friggin' interesting guy and he's got tons of stories. Marty came up back in the day. I think he started out at the BPG, that's Bill Graham Presents, Shoreline Amphitheater. He was a blue coat. He's worked his way through everything from merch to rigging. Apparently he's cool with heights. We're going to ask him about that. And he made his way working for the great company Screenworks, doing video tricks and being their production guy over there. Apparently he handles a lot of their accounts. We're going to get into his shit and we're going to find out what's up. Marty, thank you for coming to the show. How are you tonight?
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm great.
Really?
Great to be here.
Thank you so much for coming on. You said you had a little nerves. Now, Marty, I'm right over here. Just keep it with me. You don't wanna
Usually,
just
you know,
ignore all
on the
that.
other side of the camera.
Yeah, right. Again, you got that video stuff going on. You got to ask you. So here at the show, we like to ask about the origin story. It seems to, you know, how did you get in the mix? Now I mentioned that you kind of came up through BGP and some other stuff. Can you fill in a little bit there for us?
Yeah, I ran into a guy when I was working at Kirkwood driving Snowcat.
Yeah.
Eric Simnacher.
Yeah,
And
the one and only.
I was wearing a Blues Traveler shirt, and he came in the shop, and he was driving Snowcat as well, and he saw it. And he's like, "Hey, I was on tour with those guys last summer." I'm like, "What do you do?" So I'm a rigger and blah blah blah. I'm like, "Wow, can you give me a job?" He said, "Absolutely." And you know, at the end of the winter, he hooked me up and started working at Shoreline.
Wow, that is very cool.
Yeah.
I would, big fan of Eric's and want him to get him in here. So you blow in his ear for me, okay?
Oh, I will.
Yeah, you say, Carrick, you got to
Great
come
guy.
do it. It's painless. Tell him lie to him. Say it's painless, and they only buy little, you know, and maybe he'll work his way in here. I know early days. I was reading in your bio that you came up in doing the church type tours, church work. Talk to us about that. That
Well,
is
my
a
dad-
very common lane.
Yeah, it's interesting in this industry. So my dad was a music minister at our church, and then he would do all the productions, you know, year in and year out, whether it's Christmas, Easter, whatever. So I remember as a kid going to Musson Lighting and Sacramento Theatrical Lighting, picking up fixtures and stuff like that. And I remember him getting our first lighting board in church. It was a 10-channel. I remember after we got the lights hung, just going through it, you know, trying to do fast moves and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really, really funny when things kind of segued into the professional world of concerts and started seeing things like IntelliBeams. I remember going back home and telling my dad, like, "You wouldn't believe these lights. They have these mirrors that refocus the light." It was amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. But a lot of very talented, experienced guys came up through the church system. Some of them, many of the real badasses, top 5 dudes, still when they get a free week can go to their church and mix, you know, at those big mega churches. It's a very, very common angle. Did you get any training from Simnacher?
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
rigging?
He started training me to rig there at Shoreline, along with a few other people. Mike Tonis, Bob Powers.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Leighton Hill wasn't jumping into it quite yet at that point. But yeah, Eric had a hand in a lot of us getting involved, for sure.
Well, Eric is that kind of guy. You mentioned Bob Powers. Now, Bob Powers, badass from 134-16, is a dear friend. I mean,
Yeah,
I really
brother.
enjoy Bob Powers. He is a special cat and kind of fearless, if you ask me. What was your experience with Bob?
Oh gosh, came up together. I mean, early on, started rigging early, rigging at the Shark Tank. Him and I mean, remember walking out on beams with him in the outer areas at the arena there to do stuff, corporate events and things like that would rent the arena out. I mean, lots of memories, lots of memories. Then move, fast forward to nowadays, managing different tours as the project manager at Screenworks. He's been the head rigger on many of the tours. So I would, when working with him on that level, which has been absolutely outstanding. It's like coming full circle with a lot of old brothers and stuff.
Yeah, that is very cool. That's kind of one of the special parts of our business. We get to hang with our people. Bob, I find to be extraordinarily fascinating, endlessly fascinating. He saw your ad for the show, it will air tomorrow. Today's Wednesday, guys. We're doing this because we're booked up, so we tried to get our Thursday show out of the way. But he mentioned that he was going to watch just to see. I think he wanted to see how you do on this. Bob sat in that hot chair.
Yep, I watched that episode, and I just ran into him a couple weeks ago at Chase Center, and I told him I was coming on here.
Yeah.
And
He didn't try to warn you off or anything, really?
No, he wished me luck.
All right, well. I might not be going chronologically. I'm moving around a little bit if you can bear with me.
Yeah.
I know that for a time you got into doing some merchandising for bands like Bare Naked Lady, NSYNC, Dido. By the way, one of my favorite female artists, extraordinarily talented.
Yeah, she was really good. Yeah, it was interesting. Back then it was what work was available and what opportunities were opened up to you or me, and just take what you can get. So I learned merchandise on Lilith Fair, and then those guys, I was dealing with other like private merchandisers on the tour, and so I ended up handling a lot of the tour merchandise and delivering it to them. They asked me if I wanted to come back out the next year doing merchandise, and then that led into probably 3 or 4 years of off and on being the merch guy out on tours, which led into Bare Naked Ladies, Dido, ended up on NSYNC, where we would, dump a full semi truck of merch in one stadium and reload. So I mean, that was some serious work. And I was just, grunt guy on that tour, but later was doing head of merch for smaller tours, which was a lot of fun.
Was it? You found that satisfying?
Oh no, it was cool. It was cool to go from the production side into settling shows and things like that, and learning just that side of it. There's a saying: production takes money, merch makes money.
Yeah,
so it's kind of a better side of that coin when in that whole realm. Yeah, and my mentor in that, Mikey Cusack, amazing guy. Wally King, but both guys who played a big role in me advancing in that realm and having work through that side of things.
Very, very cool. Well, it's more tools in your toolbox too.
Yeah,
better understanding of the whole picture.
Agree.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. I mentioned in the monologue opening up that Mr. John Del Rio is not only the guy that said, I got to have you on, and I trust him implicitly, but he's also sitting 8, 12, 15 feet over there, and he's being very well behaved. There he is. See, there's a picture. There's his picture. Good job, Mike. Good ad. Good ad.
Great.
What's John mean to you? He's one of the most, to me, he's one of my dearest friends, and I love this man.
No, so there's a core group of folks that when I started out were there and have been in my life and mine and theirs since then, and John's one of them. Hands down, true brother. Yeah. Do anything for him. He'd do anything for me, as
absolutely.
and anyone in the circle.
Absolutely.
And the circle's gotten big, but it can ebb and flow. And yeah, he's he's solid human being.
As about as good a friend as he gets. Like I mentioned earlier, bar fight. You get in one.
You'd want him there.
You want Johnny
You'd
there.
want him there.
You'll empty that room like that. You mentioned working Lilith Fair. That was, I think, around 99, huh?
Well, 97, 98, 99.
Yeah, it was quite a tour. That was an impressive tour, and what they were able to accomplish with that. Did you work that one with Brian Scott, Doki?
Yeah.
I don't want to mess up his last
So
name.
Brian Scott Milne, Doki, as he went by. Yeah, we basically, Lilith Fair started in 97, and I believe they started in Seattle or somewhere around there. Coming down the coast, they realized that it was a ton of work and they needed more people, so they reached out to Nigel James, who was a production manager for Bill Graham Presents, and he was handling the show at Shoreline. and they reached out to him and said, hey, do you know 2 people that can, potentially get on the tour with us if they think they're the right fit?
Yeah.
So he called Doki and myself and said, hey, pack your bags, and if they want you, they'll take you. And they did, and off we went. And it was, 2.5 months later, we came back home. So it was a great experience, especially just pack and go type of thing.
Oh,
Interesting.
no. I've had those experiences, my brother as well. I think a lot of us have. What happened when you got home because you were naughty and weren't keeping in touch with your friends?
Oh, well, that's the old John Del Rio part where we were so busy, we just hadn't reached back out to that circle. And so when we got back, he clobbered us. He came to our place in the Tenderloin,
Chased you
and
around the building a little bit.
once we answered the door, he chased me down.
Yeah.
And slugged the crap out of me.
Yeah, with love. That was
With
a
love,
love
right,
gesture.
right, with love.
Absolutely. And sadly, we've lost Doki. Doki passed, I want to say 11, 12 years ago.
I mean, I think is it going to be 10 years?
10?
It's 10 years on December 29th.
How did we lose him?
He went with from cancer and multiple cancers, and it was just it was a real tough time for a lot of people, and it was even tougher in the sense that he didn't have any medical insurance or anything, and he had some warning signs early on, and didn't go get checked out, and that ended up catching up real fast. And it's kind of a too common thing in our industry, and it's a bit better now as far as the insurance goes, but it's the mentality of us is we can do it, I'm cool,
Keep
I'm
pushing,
cool, I'm
keep
cool,
going. Yeah.
I think a good thing to know and a message is go get checked out, go have some blood drawn and have, just some basic tests done to make sure that nothing's getting missed, especially if you've got insurance and can do it,
Yeah, that's
no
very
better
good
time than
advice.
now.
Very, very strong, solid advice. I agree with you, and you should check into that. You got something going on, don't wait. It's life is precious and fleeting. Tell us what led up to, you gotta share. I need details on this one because this might shock the kids. Well, not the kids, they'll appreciate it, but the adults might be shocked a little bit. Tell us what led to you working with the great Australian kids act, The Wiggles.
Well,
and how did you tolerate it?
I guess the funny part of that is it started with the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
So out on the Rolling Stones, Jake Berry, this the 40 Licks tour. Jake Berry was production manager, and he also production managed Barney and the Wiggles.
Right.
The Wiggles were an opening act for Barney, segued into them getting pretty popular, and now they're going to do an arena run. So coming off the Stones, he asked me, he said, hey, could you go out on this thing, but you need to be the director and the engineer. And he said, and I would love for you to help hang the fly rig, the Foy Truss. Foy was a company down in, I think, Vegas there for a while. That did, flying people, or, they flew folks.
Yeah.
And so I said, yeah. So that segued into that, which got me into the director's seat and engineering with the Wiggles for probably 2.5 years.
Well, it was wildly successful. I remember very well. I remember the Barney thing. I had a young child at the time. And my God, that was a serious phenomenon.
Great. It was great.
Yeah.
They were great guys.
Yeah.
Great guys.
Yeah, really. I'm sure it was a lot of fun. You mentioned the Rolling Stones. You got any favorite stories or memories from that tour? It was the 40 Licks, huh?
It was 40 Licks. I had mentioned to you before a pretty funny story about Keith. We were we had just finished the Australian leg, and we're moving into Asia, so we kind of downsized the rig, downsized the crew. So we were traveling. We just traveled crew and band family all on one charter. So we had a charter going from Singapore to Mumbai on an Air India flight. We're boarding the flight, and wallpaper's peeling off the wall. We're just like, oh, this doesn't look too good.
Yeah.
And sure enough, as they're backing the plane out onto the tarmac, the engines die, the plane, everything dies and shuts off, lights, everything. So they open up the doors for air and say, okay, we're going to work on it. So it crews up, kind of rummaging around, and we start seeing this mechanic working on the left engine. He's like pumping hydraulic fluid into this thing, and it's just raining back down on him. And at this point, one of the guys in Keith's security detail notices it, and he goes and talks to Keith. And right about this time, Mick and the tour promoter came out and said, everything's going to be okay. We're going to get it all sorted. They're going to, at this point, we had drinking all the juice and the water. We're going to get some more fluids on here.
Yeah.
And then Keith comes bursting through, shirt off, pacing back and forth, and he says, who wants to get off this plane? And the whole crew's like, we do. And he turns around, he's like, get us back to the gate and get us off this damn thing.
Yeah.
So that little, plane mover thing came up, pulled us up. We all got off. They discussed it for a while, and ended up, Keith pulled the plug on the whole thing. They wanted to get another plane right then. He said, nope, we're going to get a different plane, different company.
Yeah.
So we went back and stayed 3 or 4 more days at the Ritz-Carlton, and it ended up being Keith's expense. And that's why to this day, I'm like, that guy's the voice of reason, He's like, all our families are on here, all our crew, our friends, it's like, why risk it?
Too many cookies in one barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
no.
it was,
and this is Ritz-Carlton in Singapore?
Yep.
Oh man, you were living large.
Oh, it was fun. I mean, but at the same time, SARS was going on. So another, kind of pandemic.
Society.
Yeah. So we were inclined not to go out, but we had one kind of hangout that was pretty fun, where a lot of people hung out on the crew. But yeah.
Yeah. There's
interesting time.
Nothing like international touring. We mentioned earlier that I mentioned that clearly as a rigger and doing some of the things you just described with Bob Powers, that you are cool with heights. Is that something that came natural to you? Did you learn it? What?
No, I guess it came natural, climbing as a kid, rocks, trees, whatever. But I mean, when you start to climb high steel and, arena rigging, especially Shark Tank, I mean, when I started there was no cables, there was no safety measures, either you dealt with it on your comfort level. Some days you can walk the beam, some days you need to scoot the beam.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's times, at heights, you take 3 deep breaths. I mean, it can still grab you, you're never, I always want to be cautious and just and so, yeah, but it's never been debilitating, like it can be.
Sure. No, I've seen people super freeze up in that moment, and I've seen other people started back in the days at Shoreline. There's some of those little rigger, some of the little rigger chicks could just skinny yard up that like a
Monique?
spider monkey. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's badass, man. I watch her.
Kendra, yeah.
Yeah, just like crazy good. Around 1999, you made a jump to video. Was this the Wiggles thing when you started?
No, so that was after. That was Wiggles was 04, 05, 06, something like that. So in 99, what the jump to video is that it seemed like the industry, or the folks that had the LED screens, the heavy LED screens, found it easier to take a rigger and train them in video, because they can already safely hang this thing, versus taking a schooled video person and teaching them to safely hang it. So that ended up being a weird anomaly that flushed in riggers and lighting guys into the video world at that point. And so that was that's how it happened. It was,
very cool.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, and did that lead into doing some lead work at the was this 2002 Olympics?
Yeah. So Tel Agater, another rigger here in the Bay Area, awesome guy, who another person who trained me in rigging. He got me tied in with Screenworks, and Screenworks had the contract for the 2002 Olympics in Salt Lake City and surrounding areas.
Yeah.
And so got on that, and that was the kind of the first launch into Screenworks, and then that led to the Rolling Stones later on in 2002.
Right. So with that, I believe you kind of had 2 lives at Screenworks. Is that right? Did you come and
I was a tech and a roadie, and then LED guy.
Yeah.
Then came into camera operating, then directing and engineering, and then developed into project management.
How long have you been with Screenworks?
Full time since 2009. So 11 or 12 years, but
Before
working
that,
with
you were
them
kind of
since
freelancing with them before
2001.
that?
Yeah. yeah, freelancing up until end of '08.
How would you describe your current job description at Screenworks?
I'm a project manager. I deal a lot. I deal with most of our tours. So kind of soup to nuts type of thing. Get the design, figure out with the sales rep what the product's going to be, and then we kind of work from there to back it into okay, how logistically can we best make this thing work, get in and out of the building, truck pack the best we can. How many guys does it take? So then, okay, then who are those guy or girls or, whoever it's going to be, the best crew to make it work. I mean, as you know, it's not just the gear, it's absolutely the people that are out there representing you and carrying on the job. That's where all our faith lies and all the, that's where the rubber meets the road.
Is Screenworks largely a regional operation? Are they a tour operation? They do both? How do they?
We do both. We do a good amount of festivals each year. I mean, so we're part of Coachella, Stagecoach, all the EDCs. I mean, Bonnaroo, that's kind of a hit or miss right now.
Yeah.
But a good portion of festivals, all the Rolling Louds with Chung Po. So that's a huge part of it. But the tours is a huge part of it. We have we're in sports quite a bit. We do NASCAR, NHRA, a lot of events with them. But we are a division of NEP, which is one of the largest, if not the largest, mobile broadcast companies in the world. So we have sister companies around the world. So now at this point, we're able to support productions, whether it's here or in Europe or Australia or Asia, and by hoping to utilize our assets in those other countries and not have to ship stuff. So it turns into a big savings, and we're really starting to figure that out, especially coming out of COVID with huge dollar signs on transport costs.
Oh my God, it's outrageous. And I would imagine in an operation like yours, that's something you have to really take into question and consideration.
It's a big deal, doubled, tripled, and just sea containers, trucking in general. It's insane right now.
So in the international operation, is it that you've left gear in certain strategic places, or that you have these?
We have sister companies. So one of our sister companies is Creative Technology. So they're obviously a massive company, with presence in England, Asia, here, obviously, and so they're a big partner in setting up tours to where we utilize the same gear there, same gear here, or same spec, and then execute like that. That's been a huge uptick for us, for sure, to be able to have those resources.
Well, I can imagine it must be very handy. So when you say sister company, are they under the umbrella of NEP, or are they a freestanding company that you just have a B2B?
They're under the umbrella of NEP. Yep.
Wow, really cool.
Yep.
Great stuff.
Division of the NEP live events.
You got any favorite memories of your time in the production world? Something that stands out for you?
Last play at Shea, Billy Joel.
Wow.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
I think that was '08, somewhere around there. That was neat. Taking the kids and my wife to shows now. That's pretty fun. My wife, Megan, my girls, McKenna and Chloe.
How old are you, Gil?
McKenna's 16, Chloe's 12. They just turned those ages. And they're starting to get into, stuff that we do.
That's
and we got to go to a run of shows at Fenway coming out of COVID in August. It was Guns N' Roses the first night, Billy Joel the second night, Green Day, Weezer the third night, and then New Kids the fourth night.
Wow.
So it was a marathon before they started back in school, and that was a blast to have them out for that.
Oh, that had to be a lot of fun.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah, you got cans on them. You keep them their ears protected.
No, not now. They're good. Yeah, they wouldn't. Even if when they were young, we did.
Yeah,
but they wouldn't wear them now if I had them, for sure.
It's pretty hard to get him to toe the line sometimes. Isn't it?
They're like, no, Dad. I'm not gonna wear that.
No, I totally understand. A lot of young people watch what we do here, and I was wondering if you had any advice for young people coming up, how to get into the business, how to survive the business, little tricks of the trade.
I would say be open to learning anything. Don't, if you're doing lighting and there's some knowledge about audio that's coming up, absorb that. If there's something about carpentry, absorb it. If there's, anything, anywhere you can learn, especially coming up, engage and move forward with it. Try and better yourself, basically. The more you know, the better off you're going to be, the more useful you'll be in the future, and the more confident you'll be in what you're doing. That's kind of my take on it.
I couldn't agree with you more. That's absolutely great advice. What do you think the future, as things are still a miss and a little funky, as my brother would say, then the crystal ball is kind of foggy. What do you think the future of live shows and production are?
It's huge right now, getting through COVID. Everybody obviously has a huge desire to get back out there and be a part of a show, or, as a patron, and the acts wanting to get out there and deliver their entertainment. It's nothing but bright future at this point. And as far as like production goes, I think immersion, I think that's what we're seeing as kind of a guiding thing looking forward. It's like you see the EDM shows and stuff like that. Things are so much more massive, and they're kind of encompassing you, and trying to hit on, every sense that they can, or that you can. And I think that's, playing that whole realm of it is going to be, I think that's a big pushing force for sure.
Sure. You think that, do you think it's a direct correlation between ticket prices and bringing the bigger show? You just think it's the technology has created an atmosphere where artists can say, I want lasers, I want Cairo, I want pyro, I want...
That's a good question. I just hear about ticket prices when, it's not a normal conversation I have, but, if things are out of control on a ticket price, then, you're like, wow, that's interesting. And sometimes that's for a show that doesn't have a huge amount of production. It's just a show that everyone wants to go see type of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know what a ticket costs for EDC or something like that, but that is an extreme amount of production there. It's a massive amount, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's got to tie into to itself at some point. But
it's got to pencil, right? It's got to.
Well, no, it definitely pencils, and those events, there's a lot of patrons there, so there's that side of it. Multiple days, they can sell packages. Right. They've figured it out to a pretty deep extent. There's no doubt.
Well, we have a couple EDC things that we do, but it's not our milieu. Is there any special challenges with those shows? It's coming through my laptop.
Everything.
How do they?
Everything. The rigging, the programming. These things are, and I don't usually deal with those anymore. Our crack team of guys, Brad Ryman, Jonathan Richmond, Randy Mayer deals with a lot of them as on the sales end of it. These guys, the amount of processors and computers and everything it takes to even fill that much space with video content is crazy. Yeah. And it's all pushing the technological envelope for sure.
Wow. Well, I know some of the ones I've seen are pretty impressive, but it just seems a little one-trick pony. So
we just did this Bad Bunny thing down in Puerto Rico, and that thing was absolutely massive. That was bigger than I think a lot of the EDCs we've done, and it was just, man. Pictures don't even do it justice for the actual house. What size it was crazy.
What was the attendance?
I think it was 100,000. I'm not sure. I would need to check that. But there was also
well attended though.
I think sold out. Wow. Sold out. Yeah.
No shit.
Hometown.
You mentioned that you don't mess with EDCs too much anymore. What is your special lane? What do you do?
It's tours, mainly our tours. Some other one-offs or special projects. But yeah, mainly deal with our tours. We've grown so much over the last decade. We have quite a few more people in our arsenal of project managers and techs and things like that. Yeah. So I used to have to deal with a lot of festivals, but Now, it's mainly the tours. And I still would deal with the festival if the tours weren't so busy. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. And we also have a good regiment of crew guys that are used to dealing with these certain clients, that this is the team, this is the team. And it's we've got a pretty good system.
Is there any special challenges with the festivals? I know the festivals can be really...
Giant logistics,
Yeah.
I mean, tours are one thing where you're planning it out to go in and out every day, and you have this certain amount of, time to get things together and things like that most of the time. A festival, I mean, you got to plan it, beginning to end and be just dead on, because you're going to be on site, and wherever this may be, you might not have the resources to get what you need right away. So I mean, it's an extreme amount of planning.
No, they can be crazy. Yeah, and you mentioned Coachella, Stagecoach.
We do Outside Lands as well.
Lands.
We play a part in that as well.
Yeah, wow. No, those are wonderful shows, wonderful tours. You got any special plans for Christmas is coming?
Just gonna go up to my in-laws this weekend and have a little get together up there. Some good food. That's up in the Sierra Nevadas. But then hanging at home for Christmas.
Keeping it close.
Yep. Over in Santa Cruz area.
Oh, you live in the Cruise, huh? How do you like that area?
Love it.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
great,
we actually live in SoCal, which is just adjacent to.
But more pretty and kind of woodsy.
Yeah, we love it. Absolutely love it. Been there 6 years.
It's absolutely lovely. Yeah, I'm down in the Carmel Valley area, and so
Oh,
spend
nice.
a lot of time
Nice.
in the Cat, and I'm sure it's a great little spot. My brother, I zipped through the commercial. Well, first of all, you were really good at this. You killed it just now. It just was like you were a little nervous. You said, "Man, I got to tell you, buddy, you just nailed this thing shut. It was perfect. You did a great job."
Well, thanks for having me.
I really appreciate you being here, my friend. This is going to be a slightly shorter show, but only because we just did that so quick. We just went through 20 questions. You're kind of a badass, brother.
Ha! Thanks.
You're being awfully humble, but it sounds like you keep really good care of your company and the artists you work with, and that's something to be proud of, my friend.
Oh, absolutely. It's it's a passion. So as it is, I think, with all of us.
Well, I thank your wife and your kids for letting me have you for the evening, and thank you for coming in. It was very, very cool of you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Very cool. All right, guys. Very nice guy. He's just like knocking them down. We've had other guests where they just carry on. I guess I got too used to that. It was a lovely guest. I want to thank Marty Kell for being here this evening. That was very kind of him and sharing his experiences with you guys. We do hope you guys have a lovely holidays coming up and that things are good for you. Next week we've got the one and only Charles Chopper Brady. He's an extraordinary cat, been in the game for 40 plus years, done it all. It should be really interesting. Please tune in then. Until then, I want to thank my crew and my good friend Kyle Thomas for being here. Thank you, Kyle. And Mikey Brown, the octopus, for always putting up, making it happen. And my wonderful, did we lose Georgie? Yeah. My brother bailed. I don't blame him. He knows what I look like. He's over it. But John Del Rio, thank you for being here, my brother. And to the crew that's still working, who's been very kind to try to be quietly working, I appreciate them. Yeah, that's our badass LD guys over there. They're building a big show for us, and we want to thank him for that. Oh, that's got to be Rob. Yeah, these guys, our lighting crew is. Yeah, we're really lucky. We have some really talented guys. We're going to do this again every Thursday, 7 p.m. You guys come check us out. But until then, be good to each other, kind to yourself, act right. And we'll see you again next week on Thursday at 7 p.m. Good night.